Up with KREM begins now.
6 o'clock here. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for starting off your day with us here on Up with KREM. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Nicole Hernandez. We want to start with weather with meteorologist Thomas Patrick. Thomas, you've got a pretty calm week, but now you're talking about some fog in the morning, right?
Yeah, not this morning. It'll start tomorrow morning, but I wanted to make sure to give everybody at least a day's heads up for that morning fog that's going to affect our commutes. Wednesday morning and Thursday morning I've placed as weather impact alert days, which is a little bit more lead time than we normally get when it comes to fog. So again, that's tomorrow morning, not this morning. Today actually going to be a fantastic day weather-wise. It was 50 degrees yesterday, and I'm going to double down on that forecast. I'll go 50 degrees for a second straight day for this Tuesday. So plenty mild. This is about 15 degrees above average for the season. But after this, then we start to get our foggy mornings, and that does have a big impact on our temperature trend as well. So coming up, I'll show you how many days I'm already forecasting that could have fog in our region.
Let's get you out the door this morning with a look at your traffic impact in Spokane Valley right now. This is I-90 in Evergreen. Traffic flow is moving great here, and visibility seems to be okay this morning. As Thomas mentioned, we just wanted to give you that day's heads up for tomorrow morning. You could wake up to some fog tomorrow, so we'll keep a close eye on that. In the meantime, though, traffic moving great here on this Tuesday morning. On Up with KREM, we bring you weather and traffic together every 30 minutes. The time now is 6:02. Happening today, the Supreme Court is set to hear arguments on the Idaho transgender athletics ban.
KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones is live in studio this morning to break this all down. So Brandon, it's just a hearing today, but the ruling that ultimately comes from this case could have a huge impact on the entire country.
Oh, that's exactly right. Good morning, Tim, Nicole. 27 states currently have a ban on transgender girls and women from participating in female sports or teams. Idaho is included in that number and has been for 6 years when Governor Brad Little signed the Fairness in Women's Sports Act. The law requires athletic teams at public schools, colleges, and universities to be designated based on biological sex, stating in that law that teams designated for women or girls shall not be open to the male sex. Well, shortly after that law was signed into place, Lindsay Hecox, a trans woman, sued the state because it prevented her from competing on Boise State's women's track and field team. After years of litigation, Hecox filed a notice attempting to dismiss her lawsuit just this past fall, citing significant personal and family challenges, including negative publicity from the case. But a U.S. District Court judge struck down the dismissal effort, saying it would be unfair to the public's interest to abandon the lawsuit now. Just yesterday, Governor Little spoke about this topic in his State of the State.
And we led the nation in preventing men from competing in women's sports.
So the Supreme Court hearing today is expected to begin in just about an hour at 7 a.m. We'll listen closely and keep you informed on what comes from that hearing. The court's ruling, though, will likely come later in 2026. Live in the studio, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
New this morning on Up with KREM, a federal court ruled the state of Idaho can now enforce its law preventing transgender people from changing their gender on their birth certificate. A federal judge amended a 2018 court opinion limiting the state's enforcement of the law. Idaho Attorney General Raul Labrador supported the court's decision, saying the state can now enforce our law, protecting accurate vital records while treating all Idahoans equally under the same amendment process, he said. This morning, an important warning for parents. Artificial intelligence is playing a bigger role in everyone's lives, including children.
So a recent study found around 70% of teenagers in the U.S. have used an AI chatbot at least once. Some say AI is a great learning tool, but others are worried about safety because the chatbots can get information wrong. They're also designed for engagement, which means they will tell you what you want to hear. That could be harmful for young people.
Our use of social media tells a story of what happens when we're not mindful of how these technologies can influence children and their development.
Experts say parents should teach kids to be open-minded and be curious. Also, they should understand how and what kids are using these chatbots for and give it a try yourself. Because more teenagers are using chatbots, Washington Governor Bob Ferguson is supporting a new AI bill. It would make AI chatbots have protocols to detect and respond to self-harm or suicidal ideas. He said this bill would also protect kids against explicit content.
We will not put up with ICE! We will not put up with ICE!
That was the sound outside of last night's Spokane City Council meeting. Protesters holding signs against ICE, while inside City Hall, 3 members of the City Council were sworn in. Incumbent Zach Sapone and freshman council members Kate Tellis and Sarah Dixit. Another hot topic on last night's agenda was the ban on the sale of KREM. This ended up getting pushed back to February. Council members also debated whether or not to accept a $1 million grant from the U.S. Department of Justice to hire 8 new police officers. The grant comes with conditions, and some members have questions about them.
We cannot do it if it's going to put us in a situation where we will potentially have these dollars clawed back and potentially be sanctioned in order and not able to access other dollars.
One of the conditions for this grant would be not to prohibit or restrict the federal government from getting and sharing immigration status information.
Well, over the weekend, firefighters in Western Washington saved 6 puppies from what they think was a fentanyl overdose. This all happened out in Gold Bar, Washington. Sky Valley Fire says somebody brought 3 unresponsive puppies to their station. The firefighters on duty right away gave the puppies Narcan, and it worked. Then the sheriff's office went to the house where those first 3 puppies came from and found 3 more who also needed help. Thankfully, all of the puppies responded very well to the treatment, and yesterday the firefighters actually got to visit all of them.
It was awesome. They were so happy and playing and jumping around and playing with toys.
They're so cute. The Everett Animal Shelter says they are getting them back to healthy, of course, and then once it's time, they'll let everybody know when the puppies are up for adoption.
Some good news this morning. Some pass holders at Stevens Pass will be getting partial refunds for Epic passes. The resort says about 7% of its core season was impacted by the closure, so people will get about a 7% refund. The resort says the refund is a special exception to its standard policy and applies only to guests who selected Stevens Pass as their primary resort. Refunds will be processed after the end of the season.
It's 6:07. Looks like today is going to be another very mild or almost warm day for January standards. A little extra cloud cover this morning, but that honestly is keeping our temperatures in the 40s right now. It's been about mid 40s in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, 44 in both cases here, already 40 degrees in Pullman. So that's about the coldest that we're going to see all day long, which means we have a very good chance to hit 50 degrees for the second straight day and a little bit more afternoon sunshine. So if anything, today could be maybe another degree or 2 warmer compared to yesterday.
Well, tonight, the Friends of the Bluff and the Spokane Fire Department are doing a presentation about wildlife reduction. They will have an update on the work they've been doing on the more than 200 acres of the High Drive Bluff. They will also explain how that work is protecting our communities. It is free tonight and starts at 6 p.m. It will be in the Spokane Women's Club.
Also happening this morning at 10 a.m., single game tickets go on sale for the Spokane Indians. They start their season at home against the Everett Aqua Sox on April 3rd. Well, the wait is finally over. Our evening team welcomed a new team member last night. Sydney Schofield is our new evening anchor. She joins Mark Hanrahan and Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo every weeknight. This is a homecoming for Sydney. She's actually from Liberty Lake and a graduate of Central Valley High School and even served as the Spokane Lilac Festival Queen. Before returning to Spokane, Sydney worked as a journalist in Raleigh, Colorado Springs, and Reno. You can watch Sydney every weeknight on KREM 2 News at 5:30, 6, 10, and 11. You're going to love Sydney. I've had the chance to get to know her over the last couple of weeks, and she is awesome. In order to learn more about Sydney, you can actually watch this. She sat down with Mark to talk about growing up here in the Inland Northwest, her career, and what it means for her to be back here at home. You can watch that conversation right now on KREM 2 Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.